Welcome to the Deforestation-Free Trade Gateway. In this video, we'll explore some of the main features and functionalities of the application. From the homepage, you can review some of the value proposition of the platform, together with an overview of our various partners we are collaborating with. Under the section Tools, you can see some of the toolkit that is made available within the platform, including the registry, a set of data collection tools, polygon mapping, deforestation risk analysis, access to a data hub, possibility to conduct some origin tracking, and have the possibility to export information pertaining to producers, cooperatives, and exporters in a format that is compatible with the EU information system. Any user of the Deforestation-Free Trade Gateway can navigate the registry. The registry is a module which provides information about producers, cooperatives, and exporters. This registry can be browsed based on a set of filters. So you can filter the list of entities featured on the platform based on a commodity, a country, or a data provider. That is, an entity that has been providing data to the Deforestation-Free Trade Gateway to feature the producer, cooperative, or exporter. Or you can use the search field in order to identify a specific supplier. Once you have identified the potential supplier you want to connect with, you can review their profile by clicking on View Profile, where you will see very basic information about that specific cooperative based in Tanzania, Kilimanjaro Coffee. You can see the data source, when it was last updated, basic information that is available up front, together with an indication as to the information that can be browsed if requested. So here you can see that there's access to 2 land plots and some additional information. If you want to have access to this full array of data, you need to click on Access this information. Once you have created your account within ITC, you can choose the role of your company within the Deforestation-Free Trade Gateway. You can select being a producer or cooperative, EU operator, exporter, or a data partner. Depending on the role that you select, the platform will provide different features and functionalities. In this video, we'll be reviewing each and every one of those roles, starting with the producer cooperative. As a producer, you can feature on the Deforestation-Free Trade Gateway as a self-registered entity if your information was not provided by a data provider. You need to provide information about your company name, information about the country where you may be based, any type of ID which may be associated to your business, the commodity that you grow, the type of producer which you may be, either as an individual producer or a cooperative, the address, your contact details, which could include a telephone and an email address, and a short description about your business. Once you've completed this, you can click on Update. Once you have provided basic information about your business, you can then move on into providing information about your plots, compliance to national legislation, certifications obtained, and other resources. When it comes to the inclusion of plots, you can add multiple plots. To do so, click on Add Plot and enter the name of a specific plot. Here I'm going to put Field by the River. You then have the possibility to enter 3 different types of plots depending on the size or type of information which you may have. If your plot is more than 4 hectares, you can resort to supplying a GeoJSON. If your plot is less than 4 hectares, then geo coordinates would suffice. Or if you are already having a plot that is referenced to the GeoID, you can directly enter it within the system. To enter geo coordinates, you can directly enter the longitude, latitude. If you do not have this information at hand, you can use GeoJSON IO to use satellite imagery to identify your specific plot of land. You can zoom into the land as I'm doing right now, or you can run a search based on a region, address, or specific country. If your plot is less than 4 hectares, you can use geojson.io GPS coordinates to draw a point, in which case you just need to identify your plot and drop a point on the map, at which point you can resort to collecting the latitude and longitude and enter them into the Deforestation-Free Trade Gateway. You can add information about the plot, a general description, and provide information from when the plot was actually operated. And you can save your plot. For plots of more than 4 hectares, it's possible to record polygon information. So just like a plot, you can put the name of the plot. If I was a cooperative, I could put the name of the producer, for example, and still use geojson.io to collect the polygon information. Just like before, I can use the search address to identify a specific location or zoom in as I'm doing right now randomly for this example. So this time, rather than dropping a point, I can draw a polygon. Using geojson.io, I need to click with the mouse to delineate each and every point that delimits my field. And it's important to finish the process by clicking on the first point to close the polygon. At this point in time, my polygon has been drawn, and I have this code that is made available to me that represents the polygon. You need to click on copy, go back to the DFTG, and paste this information within this box. Once it's pasted, you can enter the plot information and the date when this plot was operated from. And you can save the plot, and then the second field is added to your record. Now that the plot is saved, you can enter information about the certification obtained in case your plot is certified by a given initiative. Here I'm going to assume that it is certified by Rainforest Alliance. I can enter a date when my certification came into effect, together with the validity of the certificate. I can enter the scope of the certificate, the entity that supplied the certificate, together with the certificate ID. So in that case, it could be an RA number, and you can save your certificate. You can also upload additional resources to the platform by providing a title and a general description and upload a document. This can be used also to supplement any information which you may be justifying along your national legislation and regulation compliance. Once your information is ready, you can actually make it available and visible on the registry by activating it. At this point in time, going back to the registry, my company would be visible to the outside world. If entities want to have access to the entire data set, which includes information about the plots, national legislation compliance, certifications obtained, and other resources, they need to request the data. And this is where I can manage the request of the information. In the current example, I can see that a buyer is requesting access to my data. If I go to my Manage Access tab, I can see that this information is requested from a company called Germany Coffee Imports Limited. Want to access my company data. I can see the request date, and I can take an action to accept or reject. I can also see information that is provided. This way, I can always keep track of the companies that currently have access to my data, and I can keep track of the companies that have requested data over the past. And I can click on Approve Request. I can also provide a message to respond to my buyer. Once the approve request has been completed, the buyer will have access to my profile. In addition to featuring my data about my company on the Deforestation-Free Trade Gateway, managing the access to my profiles, I also can benefit from a deforestation analysis tool. Here, I can run different deforestation analysis risk assessments based on different sources on the plot of land I provided. In the current instance, I am looking at information pertaining to Global Forest Watch, where I can see whether there's been areas of deforestation near the area where I'm producing. Alternatively, I can also use other sources of information, such as the FAO's WISP platform, to assess the level of risk of deforestation on a specific plot. If I click on plot, I then get basic information and risk indicators that are calculated on the WISP platform. Different types of risk types can be identified and resources can be provided about WISP. It's also possible to review this information directly within the EarthMap platform of this solution, where you can select a number of deforestation filters and risk analysis to see the level of potential deforestation which may have taken place in or around my specific area. Now let's take a look at the journey of a cooperative. We are now in a cooperative dashboard, which looks different from a producer dashboard. Here you can manage and export your data sets. As you can see, you are no longer looking at one individual producer, but looking at a group of producers. You can monitor the information that has been collected within the Deforestation-Free Trade Gateway by reviewing whether plot information has been provided, legal compliance has been provided, when the last update was carried out. You can take a number of actions on each and every one of these profiles. You can edit a producer profile by clicking on the Edit button, and you can modify this information and put it up to date. You can also run some deforestation analysis, very similar to the deforestation analysis that was run in the previous example. And you can also download data for an individual or multiple producers in a format that is compatible with the EU information system. To feature the producers on a cooperative dashboard, there are several ways to do so. You can share this information in manual mode or automatic mode. With some partners, we have established some APIs so that this data gets automatically shared in real time from datasets of partners. Alternatively, you can import Excel spreadsheets. This functionality will be available within the next few weeks. Or you can manually add a producer. To do so, click on Add Producer, and you're back to the interface that was made available for producers, where you can populate information about a producer profile, their plots, compliance to national legislations and regulations, certifications obtained, and upload any other relevant sources of data. From a cooperative perspective, you can group several producers and run some grouped deforestation risk assessment under the deforestation analysis module. This feature will also be available within the next couple of weeks. For the time being, just like in the example shown earlier in this video, you can run some individual deforestation risk analysis, leveraging information from Global Forest Watch, WISP, and Sheet Trees. Another feature and functionality that you can run is select multiple producers and run a grouped action to download EUDR data compatible with the information system. You can provide a name to the file. You also have the possibility to anonymize the data and not include the producer's name when sharing this information with any third parties which may be requesting this data to complete the due diligence statements. This is the format of the data you have just downloaded. For a specific producer, they plot, the country where they operate, and the polygon information. This is the information for the second producer. ITC has been running some tests with the EU information system and confirms that this data format is compatible with their operations. Cooperatives, just as in the farmer case, also have the possibility to manage the access of the information. In this example, you can see that several companies have been requesting access to individual farmer profiles. It's up to the cooperative to decide whether or not they are willing to share this information with those third parties. By default, the cooperative can also set an auto-sharing mode whereby they don't need to validate each and every one of the requests made by a third party. Now let's move on to an EU operator dashboard. We are now looking at an EU operator dashboard right now, which looks there again different from the producer or the cooperative dashboard. From the dashboard, an EU operator can review the supplier list. In the current example, I can see that this specific company requested access to a company called Company ABC, which was the company that we showed earlier in this demo video. I can see that the status is active. I can see that this specific company has plots when the information was last updated. An EU operator can populate all of their suppliers within this specific view. When clicking on an individual supplier, the EU operator can review the basic information about the producer, the plot information, and the certification information that was provided by this producer. The EU operator has the possibility to perform some deforestation risk analysis or to download information in a format that is compatible with the EUDR information system. Here on the screen, you can see what this information looks like, how this GeoJSON data pertains to company ABC. An EU operator has the possibility to go at any point in time back to the registry, run a search in the registry, and make a request to a specific supplier to access the data. They can include a message and send a request. Within the registry, once logged in, they can track which specific companies they have been requesting access to and which companies they already have access to. Going back to my supply list, as an EU operator, I can see that I have been requesting information to this supplier. In order to also track my data access request, I can do so on the data access request module. In the near future, we will be running a deforestation analysis risk for multiple producers, clusters of producers, and it will also be possible for EU operators to group and cluster specific suppliers within given supply chains. Now let's focus on the last type of role that you can endorse within the platform, which is a data partner. As a data partner, you have to enter your company name, the country where you operate, and additional information to create your company profile. You are then redirected to your dashboard, which is similar to the dashboard of the cooperative that we saw earlier on, which provides features and functionalities to add, import specific producers, cooperatives, to upload information in a manual or automatic mode through an API, and to manage the access of your producers and run deforestation analysis. As a data provider, just as with a cooperative, you can add individual producers by click on Add Producer button, or very soon we will have the feature and functionality to import Excel spreadsheets. Thank you very much for your time. Should you have any further questions, please contact Matthew Lamole, Beatrice Rodriguez for any potential collaboration and featuring on the platform. For any type of technical questions, please contact Gregor Tashman or Gregory Sampson.